back to I Only Listen to 90s Music, the show where we talk about everything 90s and music and 80s sometimes, maybe a little bit of 2000s. This is one of our interview series that we love to do. Stacey, how are you doing?
I am okay. And I even have on my Only Listen to 90s rap shirt for the occasion.
Yeah.
So I got my water, I'm hydrated. Let's go. I'm happy to do this. I'm excited to talk about this book.
Yes.
All right. So we want to welcome Amani Roberts to the show. He is a intersection of business, pure nostalgia, everything in between. He's an award-winning DJ and educator. He was an entertainment money management out of CSFU and the author of the USA Today bestseller, The Quiet Storm, which provides a definitive look at the history of cultural impact of R&B groups. Whether it's behind the turntables or breaking down the industry shifts that changed the landscape of the 90s, he knows the rhythm, the era better than almost anyone. Thank you for coming on, Armani.
Appreciate it. Can we get a shirt, Stacey, that says "I only listen to the Quiet Storm"? Can we get that?
I mean, so here's the thing. I didn't make this, but someone out there that's listening,
yes.
Can you make me a shirt?
Yes.
It says, "I only listen to the Quiet Storm."
Yes.
I will provide my PO box.
Yes, let's do it. Yes.
If people make me a shirt, I'll wear it.
All right.
If you send me a
she's a t-shirt. It's not the way I would want to say it. It's not 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have called her a t-shirt something else, but we don't do that anymore.
No, we don't do that anymore. Yes, we don't do it anymore.
I like graphic tees.
Jump on in. I'm jump on in.
I like graphic tees. So, Mr. Amani, so again, thank you so much for reaching out and letting us know that this book even existed. But so Daryl gave a great intro for you, but who is Amani Roberts? What really sparked this interest in your love with R&B music? Because I mean, yeah, you were a DJ, but just because you DJ'd doesn't mean that you love the R and the B.
Yes,
you might have been a ficky. So I don't know.
Yes, I mean I can do that too. Right. But I'm, who am I? I'm a dude that's from the Washington D.C. area. Grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland. Went to Howard University. I've traveled and worked a lot of cities in the U.S., whether it be D.C., Atlanta, Chicago, Miami, Dallas, L.A., Vegas. So I travel a lot. I grew up in hospitality. Been a DJ for almost 20 years. I fell in love with R&B music and listening to the Quiet Storm and slow jams as a kid, trying to court the ladies, and I love my pancakes. So that's a quick synopsis of who I am.
Wait a minute, because now I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
You were listening to the Quiet Storm, trying to court the ladies.
Yes.
What was the go-to song? It's a girl that you met, and you I like her. What's the go-to that you calling and requesting?
Yes.
I want to send a special dedication.
Different songs for different ladies. And depending on the different situations that we were going through. So no one lady had the same song. But
I like that about you. I
will say one that worked very well was Ready or Not by After 7.
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean,
that works very well.
When Kevin gets on there,
I'll give you the sun, the moon, the stars. Yes.
Yeah. And the run on there, and the bridge on there.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Fair
so
enough.
You're from the city where the Quiet Storm was actually created.
Exactly. That's why I grew up in it. Yes, Howard University, Melvin Lindsay, mid-70s. His manager, I'm forgetting her name right now. I'll remember in a little bit. Gave him permission to take the show and make it longer. And it spread like wildfire across the entire world. So it dominated nighttime radio formats for a good 20, 25 years to the late 90s, early 2000s. And, you called in, make your dedication. You listen to the dedications. He played a lot of 60s, 70s, and then 80s R&B, and then 90s as it got to it. So that's where I kind of fell in love.
See, I don't even know if you knew it when I was in college. I did the Quiet Storm for 4 years in college.
Okay. Where were you? Where'd you do it?
I went to Iowa State University, Ames, Iowa. KURE, 88.5 KURE.
See? From DC to Ames, Iowa. And everywhere.
That is
Look, and then
fun.
I had a
So,
section, Stacey, called the Heartbreak Hotel. Calling if either you're checking in or you're checking out.
it's very funny because I actually have a playlist on Spotify called Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah.
And when I was at SEMO, I used to co-host a radio show. I think I just kind of started showing up and they just let me start talking on the mic, which
Okay.
is kind of how we where we are now. Like I just started showing up and they just let me start
Right.
talking. But
SEMO.
I
Where's
did,
SEMO?
yeah, Southeast Missouri State. It's in Cape Girardeau.
Okay.
And then hell, we did a stint at Ham Radio at Florissant Valley, and we were actually on the radio for their AM station.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think the college DJs definitely, I don't even like, is it still a thing? Like it feels like, I don't know.
They have college DJs and college radio. It's actually pretty important if you're an independent artist too. So it's still around. Yeah, it's still around.
That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. So why this book? What made you say, you know what? I need to write a book. I need to write a 500-page book.
Because people don't read anymore. So, you want to keep a secret, put it in the book.
Right. Because I mean, because you studied our groups from like the 50s all the way through the early 2000s. So again, you didn't just sit there and be like, you know what, Chat GPT, blah, blah, blah. What why so what made you say, like, you know what, I need to record this history?
Well, so the idea first originated when I went to grad school, Berklee College of Music in Boston. My thesis, I was debating between two topics.
Berkeley.
Yes, I went to Berkeley. Yes.
Yeah.
I was debating between two topics. The first topic was why there are no longer any saxophone solos in music, because they had gone away. Kenny G, we tired of Kenny G. And the second was why there are no longer any Black R&B groups. So I decided to go to the Black R&B because I just love it. I grew up with it. So then I did the research first. So if you read the book, the last kind of 15% of it is the research that I was able to discover by doing lots of research and what happened to them and made a prediction of what happened next. That was my thesis. All along the way, my advisor was like, look, you got something to this. Like, this is more than just a thesis. You need to take this further. So I took their advice when I graduated and turned it into a book. It took me from start to finish about 4.5 years from start to release. And there were some pauses in between because of life or whatever, but 4.5 years of work. And you see the finished product and I'm so proud of it.
Is there anything that surprised you the most with the research?
Yes, many things. The Jackson 5 never won a Grammy. En Vogue never had a #1 hit. Billboard Hot 100 #1 hit. Those are the two that jump off the page. The Isley Brothers are the only group in history to have hits in 6 straight decades. The 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. That shocked me. Jimi Hendrix played with the Isley Brothers also. So those are, the Whispers, it took them 23 years to get their first Billboard Hot 100 Top 10 hit from 1964 to 1987.
Was it Rocksteady?
Was a song. Rocksteady was a song. The TLC, I'm just telling you all the goods. TLC is one of
keep going. Like
there's a trivia game coming soon too. So TLC.
Oh, we're doing it. Bring it on.
One of only 2 female groups based in the United States that has had an album go diamond sales. One of only 2. Boys to Men is the only R&B group in history to have an album go in diamond sales currently. That can change. Hopefully that changes. So those are just the top 7 or 8 things that surprised me. I mean, I could go on.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting though. With
I love it.
Here comes Scott right here. So here we go, Scott. Scott's in the building.
What's happening? My fault. My bad for the tardiness.
It's okay. Nice to meet you.
All right, nice to meet you, brother.
So in your research for this, what is like an R&B group that you're like, man, they should have been bigger?
Oh,
like legitimately bigger, not like, they had, but like like they for real should have been bigger.
Okay. The first one is Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. They were actually ahead of their time back in the day because, they crossed over. They had a lot of the white audience that loved their music, but they wouldn't let them dance with them on the TV show, had to cancel the TV show. They were way ahead of their time. Also, I think now it might have changed after he passed away, but Frankie Beverly and Maze, I don't know if they ever had a platinum album or something. All their albums went gold. Now it might have changed because they added in streaming, and when he passed away, his numbers jumped or whatever. But that was one. They should have been bigger. They have one of the most loyal followings in history. We all go to shows. You wear white. That's a thing you do. That's the thing you do.
Wear your white.
Let go. Happy feelings. So that was the second one. I think the third one that should have been bigger, I want to say like Climax. One of the first few groups, they wrote their music, they played all the instruments, all female, like true up band in the 80s. And so I think they could have, if they had came out around now, they probably would have been bigger, because you know the industry's a little bit more accepting for like female musicians, and they were like cold too. So those would be the top three. You know, Kool and the Gang had 26 Billboard Hot 100 hits, but only one number one. You know what song that was?
Celebration.
They had so many other hits that could have been. I think they were not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they could have been even bigger.
I think Celebration is probably the first Kool and the Gang song that I knew existed.
Yeah, because us being from St. Louis, like when the Cardinals won the World Series in the early 80s, that's all you heard.
Yeah, that's all everyone played. When anyone won anything, that's all they played. They still play it. They still play it to this day.
Yeah.
There was something you just said, that the industry is kinder to the female musicians versus the males.
Relatively speaking, yes. Well, compared to the 80s when they were out, when Climax was out, like nowadays you see like women, you know, they're getting kind of more flowers, they're getting more accolades, getting more sales. But back in the day, like there was a huge gate up. And you know, if they're African American females, even harder as a group. Yeah. So yes.
Yeah. So I think one of the things you discuss in the book is the decline of the groups. Right. Like, and to this point, like there are so many books out there about individual artists, and your book is about, it talks a lot about groups. So you, I mean, even with the 90s, you talk about TLC, you talk about New Edition, you talk about Boyz II Men. Why do you think that we started seeing that decline? Like, was it like, I mean, hip hop came in and then, you know, we saw some collabs, but then hip hop started taking over the charts more. Like, was it that, or was it like, is it just like the audience needs, like what? Why no more R&B, right? Like you hear people saying now, like R&B is dead. There are still artists out there. Let's not say that it's dead, but
it's
we
not
do
dead.
know that there was a decline. Like
there
it's not what it was.
Yes, I'm sorry. Finish. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, like compared to what the 90s were, and now.
Yeah.
Right. Like is it streaming? Is it hip? Like what? Based on your research and your professional opinion.
Right. So I'm glad you mentioned hip hop, because why couldn't the record labels focus on both hip hop and R&B? Why did they have to make a choice? They made a choice. And if you talk to people off the record, there was a choice made. And so that's one thing that happened, especially once you get to the mid 90s and hip hop started to gain steam. In addition, you have EDM music. So EDM music also being very popular. You had a lot of artists, R&B artists, Rihanna, Neo, Usher, making EDM tracks or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that happened too. But really what it comes down to is probably, and I talk about this in the book, three main things. 1996, y'all might remember this, the Telecommunications Act of 1996. That was supposed to diversify radio. That ended up having iHeartMedia, Cumulus Media, and Town Square Media buy up all the radio stations across the country and went to playlisting format. So if you're in St. Louis, or you're in DC, or you're in Atlanta, Seattle, you're generally going to hear the same songs on the radio.
And you know what? It's funny you say that, because in 96, the first song I remember hearing constantly on the radio was Crossroads.
Yeah.
When Crossroads came out.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the Telecommunications Act, and I'm thinking about that, and then I'm thinking about media today and the mergers that are currently going on, like with the Paramount merger or the upcoming possible Warner Brothers. And again, when you have one entity controlling your content,
it's a problem.
It's a problem. It's a big problem. And music, it's one thing, but it's another thing. So, but I don't want to go on that tangent.
But I'm with you on that tangent. So then you have like, so then what hurt is like the local acts. If we think about the groups, they came from a local environment. TLC from Atlanta, Boyz II Men from Philly, Destiny Child from Houston. You had all the acts in Detroit. They were even Shy from DC. They were on WPGC Home Jams 95.5. That's where they first got played, a local show at nighttime. And then they grew to be international sensations. But when you take away the local impact on the radio, they played fewer groups, fewer homegrown. That's where groups would grow organically. That's number one. Number two, think about the media we used to consume back in the day. You had Vibe magazine, Essence, Ebony, Jet. At its peak, you had about 8 1.2 million monthly subscribers for these magazines. That's earned PR for the groups. They're on the cover. They got articles. They're covering their tours. If that goes away, Essence is still around. It's more like a quarterly magazine, but Ebony, Vibe, and Jet, they all went away. That really hurts.
Ain't no Right On, ain't no what was it?
Word
Black
Up.
Beats,
Word Up,
Black Beat,
nothing.
everything.
Gone.
None of those gone.
Gone.
Print media.
Yeah, print media gone. But then think about it. It was ironic. You had like Arsenio Hall show. He would regularly have on hip hop artists, R&B artists. That went off the air. Then you had In Living Color, another property that would have hip hop and R&B artists on it. Soul Train goes away. So you have all these TV products that would provide promotion for these groups just go away, disappear. I grew up listening to Donnie Simpson on 93.9 and 95.5. He also was on Video Soul, BET. Yeah. That goes away. These are all these places that end up going. So that's the media part right there. Then you look at mom and pop record stores at its peak. I want to say we had over, I have to look at the numbers, like it was like I think it was 5 million just record stores in general. And now we have less, I have to check my facts, less than like 300,000. They've all gone away. There's no more local record stores. And if you remember, first of all, new music would come out on Tuesdays. So you go to the store to get your CDs. And on Saturdays, they have meet and greets with the groups before they perform on the weekends. When you have all these things go away, it just slowly kind of creeps and takes it away. So those are kind of some of the main reasons. You have the music recession of like 2007, 2008. Labels really started to go more singular format, more singular artists, because groups are more expensive, makeup, choreography, management. So it was really an imperfect storm, a quiet, imperfect storm. That's my long answer.
No, it was a good answer.
Yeah,
it was a good answer. Like, you're giving good answers. Like, you're doing great. You're doing great.
I love it.
So like I know a lot of people, even when you talked to a lot of hip hop people, the 1996 Communications Act. Yeah, is that's a big play in this as well for even R&B as a whole, not just groups. How do you think that do you think that if that wouldn't have happened, a lot of this we wouldn't see now, or do you think it was inevitable that this musical sound would change because of hip hop's influence?
Yeah, I think you would have seen a much longer tail. The disappearance would not have been as abrupt. And I think maybe you would have had certain regions of the country, Detroit, Atlanta, New York, LA, that would have still on mainstream radio played more R&B music and R&B groups. Because, some of the executives wanted to hear about partying. They don't want to hear about love and heartbreak on the radio anymore. And so I think you would have seen a longer tail, and it might not have been such a drastic fall off as it was for the group specifically. But really, they don't play R&B music on mainstream radio frequently at all. It has to really, really, really go viral or pop off on other platforms, and then they might play it. The example I always use is if you look at the success of LMA's Boot Up, that's a straight up R&B song. It took radio at least a year to catch up to that song being popular. And that's just a current day example of that.
Is that also Leon Thomas's song is similar to that too?
Mutt.
Yes. Like they just start playing it like 6 months right before the Grammys.
Yes, exactly. And it takes them a long time to catch up. So it's just a sign. So we have to, when I say we, first of all, I'm talking about R&B music, R&B artists and groups. We have to be more creative and figure out how to navigate the new music kind of system, because groups still work on the K-pop side. It still works. K-pop groups are doing extremely well, but if you look at them, they're copying the blueprint of R&B groups. They look like New Edition.
That's all it is.
They look like TLC. So let's flip the script and see what are they doing that we can copy.
So, Armani, we did a 90s bracket of the best groups in the 90s.
Okay.
It was a bit. We did a full 64 R&B group tournament.
Yeah.
We had a seeding process. It was it literally was almost we had issues within people. Who won was New Edition. There was a lot of feedback, upset that New Edition shouldn't have been in the 90s.
Someone left us a voicemail.
Yeah. Oh, you left us a voicemail. Yeah,
left us a voicemail telling us
they wanted them in the 80s, but
that was the argument, is that New Edition only dropped one album in the 90s. Coming Home?
Yeah, but
Home Again. Sorry, Home Again. I'm like, Home Again, Lord.
Did you also have BBD in the bracket too, or you combined the two?
Yep. Yep,
Oh yeah,
BBD's in the bracket
BBD.
too.
So okay,
Yeah,
so they might have
and
had
we went week by week by week, and
okay.
then New Edition wins, and we be like, yeah, shouldn't win. And it's like
I mean,
points were made.
and hold on, hold on, Armani. We had each region by different types of groups. So we had like the pretty girl, pretty boy bracket.
Okay.
Like
The bad boy.
bad boy, like the bad
Jodeci,
boy.
hopefully
type of
Jodeci was
R&B.
number 1 seed in that bracket. I
Yeah.
hope.
Oh, Jodeci was
Jodeci
number
made
one.
it.
Actually, hold on. I
Jodeci.
will pull it back up and give you some of the seeds.
Yeah, I think Jodeci was in the final four.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would
Jodeci.
make
Like
sense.
Jodeci went far. Like they went very, very far. It definitely didn't.
How
I
far?
knew New Edition. Was they final? I think they were final four.
Yeah,
I think
no,
they
the
were,
finals was New Editions versus Boys to Men.
Okay,
No, I
so
said
Boys
final
to Men
four.
They was in final
Oh, the
four.
final four was all the one seeds. It was New Edition, TLC,
Yeah.
New Edition, TLC, Jodeci, Boys to Men.
Yeah. Yeah. TLC, like they make me so happy and so mad at the same time because you know the life.
They were upset specials every week. They was barely winning by like 4 or 5 votes.
Because they
people were trying to get them out of there.
They reached the peak. I think I said before, like they diamond album sales for a group. Like that's female group. That's like not just a black female group. But then they went bankrupt almost, I think twice, and they had to buy back their name. They had to spend $3 million, $1 million for each letter of their name to get the rights back. So like, you know, as a college professor, if I was to create a class and write another book, I want to write one on the life and times of TLC because that is a perfect lesson for anyone that wants to learn the music industry, what to do and what not to do.
What not to do.
And the TLC losing Left Eye was the thing. Like that kind of put the nail in the coffin for the group to even try to sustain itself.
They still tour, they still play out. So
right. So to that point, which group do you think has the greatest overall impact on 90s R&B? Boys to Men, Jodeci, TLC, En Vogue.
I'm gonna answer this two ways. Okay.
Destiny's Child.
We call them the 2000s because they started, you know, I think my name was like late.
That was a part of the debate as well, Armani, having Destiny's Child involved in the break.
So the 90s, you gotta say like Boys to Men because they just were worldwide sensations and they just came out of nowhere. So I would say they're number one, but then I always like to talk about the Isley Brothers because these groups were trying to kind of emulate the style, the sound of the Isley Brothers. And then when you flip over to hip hop, most sampled group almost in history is the Isley Brothers too.
Yeah.
So I always want to give them like an honorable mention, but I would say for the 90s, Boys to Men, they just had so many hits and so many, and the TLC would be a close second because they talked about issues. Like they were the only group in history to have a number one song that talked about domestic abuse and AIDS. Yeah. And they went for it in Waterfalls.
Yeah. And I think, what was I about to say? To that point with Boys to Men and their impact, they also impact the pop side. Yes. Because Backstreet Boys, In Sync, all of them, they were the production company, the agents. The whole idea was do what Boys to Men did.
Yes. Copy
like
them.
We want you to be Boys to Men. Copy them. Copy Boys to Men. We want the choreography. We want the matching outfits. You have to be like Boys to Men.
I mean, what you said? You said Backstreet Boys, In Sync, 98 Degrees, All for One. Like, look at all them boy moves. All four, 5 of them that did well. Those groups did well. Just copy
because they copied Boys to Men.
Boys to Men was the blueprint.
Yes. Right, and Jodeci was a country cousin from down south.
Yeah. Yes, from down south. But Jodeci, woo! Like, see, that's the thing. Like, Jodeci, they came from the church. So first of all, they came from the church, and half of them grew up together. The other half came together. You don't really see that with groups nowadays. They don't really come from the church. They're kind of manufactured. You see all these reality shows where they manufacture groups. You have to at least grow up together or come from something more in common to stick together during the hard times.
Well, I think that's because that's what defines a boy band is you have just grabbed people. And to your point earlier, you were like, these groups were from a specific region or they were local. No, we got somebody from Tallahassee. We got somebody from Nebraska. We got somebody from here. We got somebody from there. So there's no specific culture. Like everybody's kind of bringing their own thing, but you are being told you have to be this. So it doesn't matter where you come from. So if you come from country roots, like literally country music roots, it doesn't matter because we want you to do this. So if you want to be successful, you have to sing this specific way and do it like that.
Yeah.
So if you had 90s, if you had to save one group from the 90s, what group would it be? And like we had to put time capsule together. It's like this one R&B group gets to
Say.
display for the 90s to the future 200 years from now kids.
En Vogue.
Ooh.
I think they were good. Do you listen to the beginning of Hold On when they're like,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think that if they had just 2 more albums or 3 more albums, they could have gotten to the level of like a TLC or a Voice Men. Like they were kind of gone too soon because of issues within the group, but they
because of Dawn. You can say it. It's okay. You don't. It's all right. You maybe you.
She
can't
said
say
it for you.
Like maybe you can't say it, but
we'll say issues in the group because they had so much potential and they could sing. Like they could straight up like SANG, and so
everybody could sing. Like anybody could have had the lead and been fine. Like there was
harmonized and do that, and so I think that they like I always forget the name of it, but what's the myth when they fly too close to the sun and you get burned?
Oh, Icarus.
Like
Icarus.
Kind of like them. Like they just got a little too close to the sun and burned too quickly. I think that's the one I would say. Because a lot of the others are still around. Like I was thinking like SWV, they're still around. They've had a tour last year. And so, but En Vogue, that's the one that's like, oh.
So you mentioned who was underrated.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Who's overrated?
I don't think any of them are overrated. I think, I'm trying to think to say overrated. No, like I don't think the groups got as much. There's so many of them. Plus, they're competing with Mary J. Blige, Mariah Carey, all the other R&B acts that Luther, like they couldn't get as big as they could have. And Boyz II Men's not overrated. TLC's not overrated. Those are the biggest ones. Jodeci's underrated. Like they didn't really cross over like they could have. Like nowadays they cross over, so I think a lot of them 112 underrated. Jagged Edge,
Drew Hill.
Drew Hill from the ice cream or the fudge place in Baltimore to selling platinum albums. Like I think they were all underrated. I don't know, I'm biased, but yeah.
Yeah, you're fine. No, you're not wrong. Like we discuss it all the time about like this album didn't get enough play, or y'all didn't pay attention to this person, or blah blah blah. And so it's not a bad question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that we saying that because specifically 2 of the people said, "Why is All for One even in this bracket?"
Oh, yeah. Well, they probably got an early exit. They got an early exit,
We had PM Dawn in there too, didn't we?
PM Dawn in there too. Yeah,
they had an early exit too. Yeah.
You can see the ones that had an
early exit.
Yeah. Portrait.
Portrait at an early exit.
Here we go again. Yeah.
They're making a comeback though. I saw they trying to do some more shows. I saw them on the Cadillac Chronicles.
That's good. Keep them coming.
So, why do you think more R&B groups don't tour together? Like we do have a couple of them, but like I feel like there's way more room for some of these groups to tour. Like you guys do the Pretty Boys, Pretty Girls tour. Like
I was actually going to ask something similar to that. Like in the 90s, it felt like there was so much collaboration, like across labels, everybody was friends. Like we talk about the Big Papa video, or not, One More Chance video, and everybody's in there, right? Yeah. And now, like the shift, it kind of went from partnership to collaboration to competition.
Yeah, I think money, number one, people want to get their share of the money. I think labels trying to hold on to as much control as possible with artists nowadays. So they really are a little wary of competition because labels are kind of in a vulnerable position. I think also, like growing up, Budweiser Superfest. You go there, they have the big shows in St. Louis, you'd be at Busch Stadium, fill up the whole stadium on a tour.
Listen, we talk about the Budweiser Superfest.
Concert ended at 5 in the morning.
Yes, 1982. It ended at 5.
Yes, like 10 to 12 acts.
Yeah, Stevie ain't go on till 5 in the morning. It's a whole it's a whole thing.
It's a whole. So I think back then the money wasn't as good. So they were more apt to do it. Nowadays, it's different because instead of getting paid, you might see them do Jingle Ball, but they don't get much money for that. They get radio airplay. So I think that it's shifted. I also think that you're starting to see small clues of it's coming back, like Brandy and Monica go on tour together. That's a great sign. You have Usher and Chris Brown going on tour together. That's good. You had New Edition, Boyz II Men, and Tony Braxton. So you're starting to see little clues of it starting to happen again. I don't know if like economically it'll ever make sense to have like 10 or 12 acts on a bill because the money just doesn't money that good. But if you can get 3, maybe 4 acts on a show, like, you know, I think I saw a show, it had Jodeci, New Edition, Charlie Wilson. Like that's a good show. That's a good show. Like you might see the most 4. So I think the economics make it more difficult to have the big shows, but we're starting to see clues of it coming back. So let's pay attention because like you'll see some artists like Zayn, I think from One Direction. His tour had to cancel a lot of dates. Pussycat Dolls, they had to cancel a lot of dates for Blue Dot Fever. However, you know who sold out their tour? You got Usher and Chris Brown. They sold out stadiums. Football, so you see there's a market and a thirst for our R&B groups to be out on tour. You have Mary J. Blige doing a residency here in Vegas. Like that residencies are a little newer, so to speak, for R&B artists and R&B groups, but you're starting to see clues about how it's coming back, which is a good sign to answer your question about touring.
Yeah, nostalgia sells.
Yes,
it always does. Like that's why they reboot movies all the time. It's because nostalgia sells. So that's a huge thing. It's big.
So I have a question for you. If you we're going to take the 80s and 90s, you know, you had LSG, TGT.
Yes.
But for the 80s, what group of 3 solo artists would you have put together to make the 80s version of LSG and TGT?
Supergroup.
Supergroup for the 80s.
From the 80s
now, keep in mind, they can't be fighting and stuff. You like all those factors, factor those things in of like them actually working well together.
Okay.
Well, now, TGT didn't make it. Like there's the fighting in there.
That's
so
they're still fighting. They're still fighting.
LSG is the example. I think we just want to use that.
Yeah, okay. That's LSG then. We want
LSG.
Yeah. They're actually the best example because it worked and it worked well. And they were first. They were one of the first ones to do it, kind of in that 90s era. So if we go to the 80s, now are we considering Luther 80s or 90s?
80s.
He's 80s. I wouldn't make 80s.
We'll give 80s.
Okay. A supergroup. All right, so we're gonna have Luther Vandross.
So one female group, one male group.
Okay, we can't mix because I was gonna mix, but we could do that. We could do female, male. Okay, so you have Luther, Jeffrey Osborne. Let me think who's the other male is gonna be. Luther, Jeffrey Osborne. You know, I'm thinking here. I'm tempted to put like a George Michael here. Hold on.
Ooh.
I think Luther, Jeffrey Osborne, and George
careless
Michael.
whisper on these.
yes. So I'm thinking there. I think I would do that for the females. For the females, we're gonna start with Tina Marie.
Okay.
Who else we got for Angela Bofill?
Oh, snap!
Jazzy.
Oh yeah, and Phyllis Hyman.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. So
yeah,
basically, you made a vanilla wafer on one side, an Oreo on the other side.
Yeah, why vanilla wafer? Because you got one side, you got Jeffrey Osborne. That's the Oreo cookie. Jeffrey Osborne.
Yep.
No,
Oreo.
The vanilla wafer. You got Tina Marie. Okay, I guess what you're saying with like Angela Bofill.
the lighter Oreo.
Yeah.
The vanilla one,
the golden Oreo,
the golden Oreo.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That would be a good group. Like that's if you were asking me about a singular artist who I think doesn't get enough credit, like Phyllis Hyman. If you listen to those lyrics of her songs, and she was singing about her life in those songs, whew, but I digress.
And with Luther, so. Amazing voice, right? I'm just wondering if Luther was going to tolerate everybody else.
Yeah, well, I think he could tolerate.
That's my question.
He could tolerate Jeffrey Osborne just because Jeffrey Osborne, like no drama, sing that song. If you ever watched this, I think he talked about how he sang "Love Ballad" on one take at 4:00 in the morning. He talked about that on the R&B Money podcast. Like he's not about his business, so he's no drama. And then George Michael, maybe a little drama, but he's good. You know, Luther. I think Luther had a duet together. I think. Or they sang together or something. So
they had a duet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just saying. I mean, Luther. I mean, you know, he's Luther.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like, at what point after they make the first album is he ready to go back solo?
Yeah.
You're like, you know what?
Yeah. I hear you.
That was fun.
I think he would have some self-awareness because you remember David Bowie believed in Luther before Luther believed in Luther.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he would have a little bit of like self-awareness, like, okay, I'm going to bring these people along. I need to remember where I was. I was singing back up for David Bowie before I actually stepped out on my own. So I think he might have a little self-awareness when it comes to that.
Ooh, yeah, 'cause I always did Luther the thing. Like, man, Luther would be trying to be like, you know, I'm like Stacey said, I'm done with this. Like,
Yeah.
it was good.
But
That's
you know,
enough.
he had, what's my girl's name? His lead singer. She had this one song, Lisa Fisher.
Lisa Fisher.
Like,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was singing back up for him, so he kind of helped put her on too. He'll put a lot of people on. So I know he was tough to deal with on the tour. Like he couldn't get along with En Vogue.
This is
Yeah,
what I'm
Vogue.
saying.
That's-
That's my point. That's all. That's my point.
So, yeah.
I'm not talking about making the song in the studio.
Yes,
I'm talking about when they got to get on that tour.
right,
Yeah.
right. But
That's
I
what I'm
think
talking
Jeffrey Osborne's like the calming factor because he's all about his business. So I like him as like the calm energy in the group to calm both sides. You need a little flavor in the group to get the best music.
Yeah, like I said, not saying that George Michael is a diva. Not even saying that. Just is everybody gonna be all right? Like that's the big question. With R&B group, with 90s R&B groups,
Yes.
which lead singer was impossible to replace? Like if they left the group,
It won't be the same.
is we done? We can't, like, I mean, we've seen it happen. Like somebody leaves and then that's it. But like just even with the groups that are still out there today, whoever sings well, hell, Boyz II Men, who knows who the hell sings lead for Boyz II Men? All of them. But you know, like that point of like if
H-Town with Dino down, basically.
if Coco left SWV.
I was gonna say Coco. I was gonna say Coco from SWV. Like she's, you saw the Tiny Desk. She's pretty much singing lead on all the songs there. So like, you know, Coco from SWV. I'm trying to think about the male equivalent from the 90s groups. Like what's my guy? Cisco. He's like Cisco from Drew Hill. Like that was,
I mean, Scott said they got a JV in the varsity, so they might be okay.
It's like they merged with players like 8 of them. They're like the Wu-Tang of R&B.
They are there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you think like, so Blackstreet first had Dave Hollister, but they did fine when he left or whatever.
Mint Condition without Stokely.
Yeah, Mint Condition without Stokely.
That's it. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Yeah. Mint Condition without Stokely. That's so Coco from SWV and Stokely, Mint Condition. Like, just look at that. We just now mentioning Mint Condition. We about 40 minutes into the show. We just mentioned Mint Condition. They're legends too. Like, do you remember when Pretty Brown Eyes came out? Like,
listen, let me tell you something. When that first, when Scott hears that first note, his whole everything changes. His whole demeanor changes.
I turn into Stokely.
He turns into
as you should. Like, and I hate to be the old man, get off my lawn. But if you're talking about today, like that song is like, it's got the instrumentation,
it's timeless.
Singing, it's really hard for new current artists to duplicate that kind of feeling we have when that song comes on.
We are playing Pretty Brown Eyes at Scott's funeral. That's what he would want.
Yes,
he would want that.
But see now, so they had Pretty Brown Eyes, but then they came back with You Send Me Swinging. They came back with Someone to Love. Like they just kept coming back with hits.
Yeah,
you don't have to hurt no more.
Oh, you don't have to hurt no. Oh my goodness, let me put on some Mint Condition right now.
Yeah, man. So for 90s, what is the 80s, 90s producer of those 2 decades? For these mythical groups.
Yes.
Who was the producer for these groups?
Babyface.
For both of them.
Babyface. Yeah. Yeah. Now Babyface produced Jodeci too. He can produce some Jodeci stuff too. He can do that too. Like, you know, and we take away what they did outside the studio. But I think R. Kelly too. Take away with R. Kelly too. You got to take, I know we don't like to speak his name.
He was cold with that music.
Yes, he was cold with that music. Yes. But Babyface number one.
Babyface and producer.
That if I would do write an autobiography with someone, he's at the top of my list. Yeah.
Is he the definitive sound of the 80s and 90s R&B to you? Like where you're like,
it's either him or like you had a lot of like bad boy
Jam and Lewis.
So you take Babyface, Jimmy Jam, and Terry Lewis, who has a residency in Vegas, by the way, new residency, and then you got to put like Bad Boy, sort of like with the Uptown, with like Jodeci and like that
hitting over there, Bad Boy.
112, the Bad Boy. You got to kind of include them too, because they on the hip hop side, but R&B too. 112, like
Hell, MJB. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah.
Here's a question. If so you mentioned doing the autobiography with Babyface. So and I can understand why, right? You want I want to hear, let me hear that story. If you could sit in a room with one 90s R&B group and ask them a single question that nobody ever asked, that question, there's some questions that always get asked, right? Like the question that never gets asked. What would be the group and what would be the question?
I gotta pick one group.
What if DOC never got into that car accident? What if Ice Cube didn't leave NWA? What if the Game never leaves G Unit? What if Teddy Riley never moves to Virginia? What if we got that J. Cole and Kendrick album? What if the RZA would have never had that flood? How would the hip-hop world sound today? Welcome to Hip Hop What Is, the podcast where we dive into the biggest what could have beens in hip-hop history. From iconic album delays to game-changing partnerships that never happened. We reimagine the culture we love and explore its alternative paths. And you are now at Hip Hop What Is.
I would probably want to be in.
If you want to do two, if you need more than one, you can. But you got to come up with I need a group and I need a question.
Okay, so I want to ask Jodeci. I want to ask them how they got the inspiration to write "Forever My Lady," "Stay," "You and I," those three hits, because those are all in the first CD and it just came out.
And they're in a row.
So you want to talk? So you want to talk? So do you want to talk to Jodeci? Or do you want to talk to I'll Be Sure?
Because I'll Be Sure wrote it.
He wrote "Forever My Lady," but the other one's
"Forever My Lady."
But Devontae wrote the other one.
Yeah, Devontae
wrote the other one. So I want to ask about the other one. So that will be one. I'm pretty. We since we just talked about it, I want to know where "Pretty Brown Eyes" came from Stokely, and then I love Mariah Carey, so I'd have to get her in there and ask her about "Love Takes Time." That's my song from her, and I gotta know. Vanishing.
I was young and singing that song with my full chest.
Yes.
Talking about "Love Takes Time." I'm like 11 years old.
I don't know, where did this come from? And then, as a bonus, Babyface, "Where Will You Go?" Talk to me about how you wrote that song. Because I've heard him explain where Roni came from, but I want to know about "Where Will You Go?" And then if you want to ask another one, I can't stop. Keith Sweat, "I'll Give All My Love to You."
Yeah.
So I actually recently found out with "There You Go Telling Me No." That wasn't supposed to be the original song in New Jack City.
Yeah,
correct. Yes.
He just did that the last minute. It was like, I'm gonna write. He said he wrote it down. It was like, I'm doing this song. This is what we're gonna do in the movie.
He was supposed to get. They didn't get clearance for it. They were supposed to get another song that was supposed to be. I forgot what he said. I heard him.
It was supposed to be "God Let's Chill."
Yes, "Let's Chill."
Yeah, it was gonna be "Let's Chill." Yeah.
Look at that. We 50 minutes in. We just mentioning Guy.
Yeah.
And Keith Sweat.
What's wrong? Because he is too much.
So I thought. Let me say this. To be fair, I thought we were almost going to mention Guy. And we started talking about New Edition touring. And I was like, okay, I saw New Edition and Guy and whoever the hell was on that tour. I don't even remember now.
But it's Heavy D was the other person. Heavy D.
No, I'm talking about they just toured.
It was Keith Sweat. Yeah. Keith Sweat was on.
Thank you. I'm like, that's for me. That's the COVID tour. That's the night I call COVID. That's the COVID tour.
But, yeah. Wow. Man. Whew.
So the New Jack Swing, or do you think that is the bridge? That was the bridge into hip hop more. You think that is the official bridge?
That was a very strong bridge. That was like the big bridge in the quote unquote city for sure. Because you had like Teddy Riley, but then every R&B group was making like New Jack. Poison kind of came from like a New Jack Swing kind of rhythm, and that's a big song for BBD. Then you have who else had some New Jack Swing?
Janet kind of did a little bit with Control. Some of it going into Rhythm Nation.
Right. And then who else had it was real heavy? Guy, of course.
Today,
him.
Keith Sweat.
Him, yes, Keith Sweat. Like they all kind of followed that train and then kind of smoothed it out a little bit afterwards. Blackstreet, of course.
And then you had like those smaller groups like In Touch and some of those small like or Joe Public things like that where you're like
Not Joe
Joe
Public.
Live and
Joe
learn.
Public, you got to live and learn. Yeah, you got to live and
Like,
learn.
damn, Joe Public. Sheesh.
Portrait had the
Portrait.
New Jack Swing for sure.
Yeah.
I
Portrait did.
adored Portrait.
Yeah.
Portrait and what's the other group that I'm thinking? of?
The boys, even though they were kids, they
Don't
had
even
Down My
speak
Heart,
listening.
Down My Heart.
Like, all about that.
Yeah. Even High Five.
High Five.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, High Five.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
High five.
Yeah, and then Johnny Gill, you know, he had his album Fairweather Friend, Rub
You the Right
Rub
Way.
You the Right Way.
yeah. You see, I'm trying to remember all these songs. So many groups, so many people.
It's gonna drive me crazy. Portrait is here. That's Here We Go, right?
Here we go.
Yep.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
And Honey
Yeah,
Dip.
who's like
That was the other
I got a
day.
thing for you.
That was
Low Key.
Low Key.
Thank
Low
you.
Key.
Thank you. Like I'm literally going on my
And the
playlist
reason
on
I know that remember Low Key is because they're from Kansas City, and I remember one of the first cities they performed in was in St. Louis when they were like doing a promo tour.
Mhm.
like,
And then you think
Like,
towards
I-
the end you had like Next with Too Close and Wifey that has like New Jack Swing kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, Teddy Riley dropped a nuke on the game.
Yeah.
with the New Jack Swing.
you create a sound and everybody goes for that sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was
doubt.
who was an unsung producer you feel of the 90s?
Well, you talk about like I'll Be Sure was one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
People
about
have
the
no idea
90s.
how much stuff that he did.
No.
Like I mean, like
they
we
do not.
talked about what he did for Tevin. Like so,
Yeah.
like
Seven.
they don't know.
Yeah. So he's one that comes to mind right away. I'm trying to think about who else. You know, and I'll give credit to like Missy because she did a lot with SWV for like that Rain album and the Can We like that was strong. That was strong. She gets a lot of credit for her solo works, but she was in the studio long before that. Those are the two that come to mind for underrated producers in the era. You know, and I think even though they're legends, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis still get kind of overlooked because people don't realize they work with New Edition, they work with Shaka Khan, they work with the Human League. Like they really defined a lot of this. Janet, of course, the sound of the 90s. Like they did a lot.
I think they have become synonymous with Janet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you hear Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, you think about Janet. And if you ask me, like, so what else did they produce?
I mean, we talked about on the last show. Sounds of Blackness is
Sounds of Blackness, Tender Love.
Yeah, they've got hits. So that's one of the reasons why they did the residency and they call it the hits because then people can see, oh, you did this song, oh, you did that song. So
I mean, they got kicked out of the group of the
Prince fired them for
SOS
working with
band
SOS Band.
Yeah, SOS Band's another one. Like you know, from Atlanta, the SOS Band.
And that whole idea with that story was always funny to me. Of like, we're not gonna tell Prince we went to go produce, and it happens to be a snowstorm, and he can't get back. So it's like, oh, so you are producing on the side, like you're fired.
Yeah. Oh well, it worked out for both.
No, it definitely worked out.
Worked out for us too. We got good music.
These are all my questions to get the comment section angry.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going through right now, like to make the comment section angry. So we talked about which lead singer was impossible to replace. What's the greatest R&B group album of the 90s?
And okay, so are we calling New Edition the 80s?
We
With the Heartbreak.
And Heartbreak is legendary. I'll leave that there. Let's think about other.
We're going to go from 1990 to 1999. That's our official.
So the only New Edition album you got is Home Again.
Yeah, so that doesn't count, man. That won't work for this. So the one. So I'm biased to SWV's first album. That song had like 4 major hits with the Lime Green CD.
Yep.
I think you look at Boyz II Men's second album, which I think was 2. That's the one that broke a lot of records. And then you have TLC's album, Crazy, Sexy, Cool, as one word. So those are 3 that come to mind right away. En Vogue's debut album, work of art. I'd like Jodeci's first and second album. Whew.
Yeah, absolutely. Forever My Lady and Diary of a Madman.
Madman.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
in need of love.
I
Ooh.
was listening to What About Us earlier today
Oh
and
my
singing
goodness.
loud and
Yes,
off key.
yes.
Just loud and off key.
Yeah, so that comes to mind. Even Escape's original album. What?
Oh yeah.
With Understanding and Just
Yeah.
Kicking It.
Yeah.
So to this day, after if I hear Tonight, as soon as it goes off, my brain immediately starts hearing the remix for Just Kicking It.
Oh yeah.
Like as soon as it goes off, as soon as Tiny stops singing, like they do that little harmony, then I hear bloom, bloom, and I was laid back, kick that immediately because that's
Sure,
just the
stop.
way. Yeah, you
Yes.
listen. Back when we used to listen to the whole album.
Yeah.
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 You knew what song came on next.
Right. Yeah, that's what comes to mind. Yeah.
What group had some of the best harmonies? Like this for me, this is easy, but
I would say
we can go male and female.
So En Vogue, Boys to Men, and Jodeci.
Yeah. I'm saying, like for me, that's like I feel like that was a softball when I get so
you appreciate the softball,
right, greatest R&B group song of the 90s. So we talked about the albums, we talked about some songs from those albums, but what's the song?
From
or
the
let me say that. Let me do it a different way. If you had to choose one song, one 90s R&B group song to play for someone to explain to them what 90s R&B was like, what's that song that you're gonna play?
That's a tough one.
I'll give you male and female.
Okay, male and female. Female. Ooh. I like I'm So Into You, SWV. Oh, yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Listen, you ain't had a man make you say do.
In the 90s, ooh. So I'm debating between choosing a Boyz II Men song or a Jodeci song. Because Forever My Lady Boy, whoo, that song just changed lives. But then you have like Boyz II Men In the Road, like that song. That's a legendary song right there.
Yeah, it broke records.
That song was at every graduation.
Yeah, although we've come to the end of the road.
Every graduation, they sang it on the finale of A Different World. That's how culturally significant it was. Like it just they played it every graduation. It was everywhere. Which is remember that episode I said I don't have to hear it again.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to think of some deep cuts though. Like if I'm thinking of later, I think Jagged Edge Gotta Be. Ooh,
absolutely.
That's me and my wife's song. Because couples don't have songs no more.
Listen, what I say that like there are songs that I love and I talk about the same songs over and over again. And I keep saying, if y'all listen to me, if you want to pull me, make me a playlist and talk about the songs that I like and play the songs that I keep talking about. Gotta Be is on there. Like top number one Jagged Edge song for me.
That was like late 98.
Like 97, 98.
It was like their first single. I remember I was in Hampton, Virginia for training and I heard that song on the radio the first time. I was like, what is this song? They kept playing. I was like, oh my goodness. And so that's one. There's so many, but yeah, that'll be that's a great question. That's a great question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What R&B group person that everybody was like, man, I'm gonna go solo. What member of leaving a group shouldn't have went solo and should have stayed with the group?
Shouldn't have stayed with the group.
Should have stayed with the group. Like they was like, man, I'm going solo.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
It didn't work out for them.
It kind of worked out. I wish Dave Hollister would have stayed with Blackstreet. That's one. It worked out for him, but if he had stayed with Blackstreet, they would have been even bigger.
Yeah, they would have been a better group.
They would have been a bit bigger. So that's one that comes to mind right away. That's my first kind of inclination. And then I wish that, as I said before, like En Vogue would have stayed together. They wouldn't have made like Lucy Pearl, although Lucy Pearl's tight. But if they stayed together, then
there's another common denominator in Lucy Pearl too.
I know.
Dawn?
Social media blaming everybody else. It's just not good. Not good.
Dawn?
Not good.
I always think about Tony Thompson leaving High Five.
High Five,
and like how he should have maybe stuck that out.
Didn't he pass away soon after
Did he?
that?
But did
Yeah.
he leave?
Well, maybe
or,
a couple,
like,
3 or 4
He
years.
had a
after,
solo album, or he had a
Yeah.
solo record. I don't know
He
if
had
the
that
album
one
ever
joint
dropped.
that was big. What was the name of that joint?
I Want to Be something.
Yeah. I
something
want.
like that.
I
yeah.
totally thought that he left because he passed away.
No,
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I knew
no,
that- I
the
knew-
song
I knew
came
there
out in the
was-
90s though.
Like I knew there was a song, but like
Yeah.
niggas make songs. Like, you know, so I didn't.
Since you
think of
mentioned it though, like I wish 2020 would have done more.
Yeah.
Because they had a very they had the writing, they had the instrumentation, like they could have done more, and I love what they did, but they could have done more. Like they would be my second choice after En Vogue.
Bay Area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the instrumentation was crazy though.
Yes.
Like, he was doing on stuff.
Yes.
It's I Want to Love Like That, Scott. Tony.
Yeah,
Thompson.
yeah.
That's the name of the song.
Yep. I know it's I Want a Something.
Yeah. So I mean, what so I guess on the so what other artists did you think like shouldn't have left the group? And there's like, oh man, this would have been on the woman's side even. I mean, Coco figured it out. She came right back. She tried to go solo, and she was like, "This ain't working."
Nothing.
She was trying to do gospel, wasn't she?
Well, no, she had. Remember, she had that song "Sunshine."
Sunshine.
Oh
yeah. That was the only song she had. Yeah. For the female side, I didn't really think anyone should have left or stayed. Like I think they pretty much stayed. Like,
What's up? Wait a minute. Who left and who left Escape? Latasha?
Yeah, but like I think she left by the time it was like already done.
So after
but Candy had the solo record first, didn't she?
Candy had a solo record. Yeah. Candy had a solo record. So then the last time I'm thinking about is Traces of My Lipstick. And then so I know Latasha did she had a song on, is it the Best Man soundtrack? Liar Liar, which is an amazing song that nobody talks about. And I'm trying to think, and then she like, and then I think is she still not with the girl? Like when she scammed it was some mess with her.
Yeah, a little mess.
There's still some issues going on.
Frank said, I don't even remember all the issues. I just know it was some mess.
What is some underrated 80s, 90s groups? It's like, man, I need to, if you haven't heard this group, you need to hear them and check out their stuff. If you were,
I got a whole list because we haven't talked about Soul For Real yet, and ain't nobody said nothing.
Soul For Real. I think there's one group, like if you remember Whistle, Still My Girl, and Right Next to Me, like those are the group and two songs from them I think underrated. I used to love them, and they were good. So that was good. They also sang Barbara's Bedroom. They sing like a hip hop song too. I was in Barbara. So that's what. So Whistle comes to mind. Solo. I think there's another group called Solo.
Solo.
Yeah. They're another one. Like
Solo had an amazing version of A Change Is Gonna Come.
Yes. There you go. Like I said, Climax for sure. Who else underrated? I'm trying to think about my CD collection. Who I played that no one else really played, but those are the three that come to mind for underrated. Yeah.
For me, that stands out was Janae, the two. To me, they the most underrated group in the 90s. They don't get enough flowers.
Oh yeah, Brownstone too.
Brownstone. They can sing too.
So, so En Vogue, we all know that they can sing. Brownstone was three women that sounded like a whole choir.
Yeah.
And so again, En Vogue absolutely had harmonies. Like no dispute. But Brownstone was three women who sounded like a whole gospel choir.
Yeah, and they really had, because they had that track at the end of I'm a sucker for good slow jams. I think that if you want to be an artist that crosses over and does legendary work, you have to have some good ballads. That's like a requirement. You can't just have all fast songs. And Brownstone had Half of Me. Woo! So that song at the end of their first album was phenomenal. And I don't know if they had I don't think they had a strong follow-up to their second album, but that's one where they kind of left a lot of meat on the bone, so to speak. They could have come pretty strong.
Because on that second one, they had the one single, right? 5 Miles to Empty.
But then they switched members, didn't they?
Yeah. See, that happens.
Didn't one of them pass?
Yeah.
Didn't one of the members pass?
The tall one, Max.
Okay. Yeah.
But that was after the switch, right?
I think so.
Oh, this is years. Yeah. This is maybe like 2013 or 14 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then so they had one, was it 702? Can we get it together? 702.
Man, listen, in middle school,
I had the tape. I had that on tape.
written by Donnell Jones.
Donnell Jones. Yeah, see the pen, that one, and then you had black too, BLAQU.
Yeah. Like boom, like 808. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they were basically
Bring It All to Me.
They were little. They were baby TLC. They were baby Left Eyes.
Because they had Bring It All to Me with. Then they have it with like
NSYNC. With NSYNC.
Like that was big back then. They did well, but that was it. Just a couple hits. Like it's really hard now. We can have some respect for these groups, like a TLC and Boys. We have like hit album after hit album. We recognize all these other groups. They can only barely get out a good single or album.
You won't see that.
It's hard.
So
I mean, Shamari was okay from Black. I mean, she married Ronnie DeVoe, so she did all right.
She did all right, but the rest of them, no.
They just over there dancing. They over there dancing together doing choreography. There was something you said about solo artists are cheaper, right? Compared to a group. I mean, and that's just 1 + 1 = 2 with that. If groups aren't a thing as much as they were before, but like if a Boyz II Men or SWV or Escape or whatever, if they tried to debut in 2026 instead of what like they did back in whatever, could they make it? Now, I'm not saying the exact same sound, because again, music has changed.
Just have some kind of success.
But just the idea of them, like with the talent that they have.
Yeah. I think
to be able to chart.
Nowadays, it's tougher for groups of all genres. Like, K-pop's the only group genre that's doing well. Rock is struggling. Pop struggles. They hardly stay together. I think now it's like we're so into the specific members of a group and following them on social media, and they get so many offers for like sponsorship and like all these other acting and things, that there's so much things that gets in the way of the music. And I think that nowadays talent doesn't really rise to the top anymore. It's more about how popular you are. Like nowadays, the groups that get the most press are most popular, not necessarily the best. Now you have, and singular artists too, like you have some exceptions, like you can love her or hate her, but Taylor Swift is good and she's popular and she fills arenas and she writes music and she's an advocate for the industry. The Weeknd, once again, a singular artist, he's having probably the biggest tour season of anyone in the United States, a singular artist. So groups is tough because we have so many other individual distractions and focuses, and it's less about the music. It's more about popularity and how many followers you have. I think that would detract from people recognizing a group like Boyz II Men, who can sing anyone under the table. They wouldn't even care about that as much anymore. And so I think that kind of hurts the group concept. Now, I personally think, and I kind of wrote about that at the end of the book, like, I think LSG, as you mentioned, had the concept 20 or 25 years before that I think people should adopt now, where it's the supergroup. You're big as a singular artist. You come together as a supergroup, create a few albums. Even Johnny Gill talked about it. Said he'd be ready to get in the studio right now with LSG because he understands the significance of them coming together and sharing their platforms. So my dream would be like, you get an artist like Alila James, Kehlani, Jasmine Sullivan, Victoria Monet, or even Money Long. Get them together to form a group, and they could do well. I think that's the format you're going to see, similar to LSG from 25 years ago, or Silk Sonic. They kind of mapped out the blueprint too, and it worked well. They just couldn't get along, but now they're on tour, so let's see what happens. Maybe they do a live album.
So here's what's very funny is because I'm listening as you're saying that, and I'm like, I have a question about that, and I'm like, no, I don't have a question about that. There's an article in Blavity that you did, and you said this same thing. So I'm like, wait a minute, like, why did I hear it like this? Like, that's I'm like, that's how
Thank you for reading the article. I appreciate you.
I immediately went. I'm like, wait a minute, I heard like, why do I know this? And like, I had to go to my questions first. I'm like,
but because we talked about LSG, and really, we got to give them credit because they were way ahead of the curve. They were ahead of the curve, and if they can come back and do something like, I think Keith Sweat and Eddie Levert could come together, and Johnny Gill for sure. He's down. So
I don't want Eddie Levert yelling at me. That man. Let me say, I love Eddie Levert first and foremost. Let's put legend. Period. But that man will start yelling at you, and to that. Well, you know what? Gerald yelled his ass off on.
He got it from his daddy.
It's written out because you don't have to say how much.
Yeah.
Rude
Boys.
Rude Boys.
That's another good one.
Rude Boys.
Right.
Now
That's
there,
Eddie.
like they had 2 hits maybe because Written All Over Your Face. That's a classic.
Oh yeah.
That's a classic. So I think I predicted that's what will happen with groups. Maybe you have like 2 or 3. Like you can see Jasmine Sullivan, she was with her and SZA or something. So like you got a lot of options. You could get like a Luke James, you get like a PJ Morton, like some other males together. I think like that can work. It's just people have to check their egos at the door and think about the long game, because if you can put together 1, 2, or 3 albums as a super group, your platform is going to grow. Then when you have your next solo project, you're going to have that many more people following it and supporting it. But it's hard for artists once they've been successful individually to go to a group. It's hard, but some people can do it and do it well. So props to them.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I think Gerald didn't have a platinum album until after LSG, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they talk about that. Yes, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Yes.
It really actually helped him. Like,
yeah,
next album
absolutely.
Platinum.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it works. Even like, so you know, Joe and Keith Sweat are on tour together. Like, add someone else and go there. Like, you know, Joe's got hits and he's got a pen too. He's got hits and he's got a pen. So now they could get a female with them, because Athena Cage was with Keith Sweat when he was with Cut Close. He could work with a female and add Joe to that. That would be a good one. That's an underrated one right there, because you add a strong female to that one. Woo!
I know you heard the group The Shy they got that's coming out. It's Carl Thomas, Selena Johnson, and Dave Hollister.
Let's go.
Oh, I thought Donnell Jones was in there.
Donnell Jones backed out Selena Johnson.
Oh, okay.
I know you was going to say that. I knew you was going to ask that. Like, that's when Selena Johnson came in.
That's good though. Like, that would work. That works. Let's go. Let's get some singles out. Let's start to support. I think that's kind of what I predicted. That's what you're going to see. And if they have success, go on tour, make another album, go on a bigger tour. Maybe start out with an amphitheater, 5,000 cap room. You have a good second album. You come down, you do arenas like Brandy and Monica. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you think was able to transition from 80s to the 90s the best, production wise and then musically? They were able to transition to go over that hump of like, I was an 80s group, but now we got to move into the 90s.
As far as groups.
Shit, is it New Edition?
I think a New Edition offhand. That's the one.
Is it New Edition?
Guy?
Yeah, Guy. Well, so you have like New Edition, because they were the 80s. Then they did their separate projects. Ralph had his separate project. Yeah. Johnny Gill had their separate project. BBD. And they came back together and had strong tours, strong songs. They would probably be an example. For some reason, I always want to say how in the 80s, early mid 80s, like Lisa and the Cult Jam was really big. I Want to Take You Home. All Cried Out, and then they came strong in the early 90s with like Little Jackie Wants to Be a Star and others. So I always like to mention them too, because they did well early in the 90s with they had their producer Full Force was their producer. I think New Edition would take this one. Like, they did well, and then they did well. Mary J. Blige and Mariah did also phenomenal. Like, they led for single artists, because Mary was singing for Father MC mid-late 80s. Right. Father MC. And then she had, her What's the 411? And then she hasn't stopped.
She hasn't.
Who would you have liked to have been able to transition to the 90s where it was like, man, they just couldn't.
Oh, they couldn't do it.
They just couldn't get past, electronic sound.
Let me go back. I'm going to add the Ozzy Brothers to that, because they were strong in the 90s too. And 2000s.
So they've been going 6 decades.
Yes. They were strong too. Because I think Between the Sheets came out 70s, 80s, whatever. They had that, Caravan of Love.
They had Spend the Night. That was the 80s joint. Spend the Night.
And it's crazy because I just remember, as far as I know, Between the Sheets came out in the 90s, because I just remember hearing it on The Quiet Storm at night. So this song ain't new?
No, this song ain't new. This song ain't new. That's like the 70s or 80s, I want to say.
But like I say, you a kid in the car.
Yeah. Because they had the group that broke out. It was Isley, Jasper Isley. They kind of members broke away, and then they came back together. And that's where Isley, Jasper Isley, they had.
It was Ernie. I want to say Melvin, and then their brother-in-law, Chris.
Brother-in-law, Curtis Jasper. Yeah.
Yep.
They had a couple. They had some hits, and then
they had the one that they got the commercial for right now.
Yeah. So that's who I'm thinking of. Yeah. But who
Caravan of Love. That's it.
Caravan of Love.
That song right there. Oh man.
Go look at the music video for that. It's even funnier.
Really? Okay, I gotta check that out.
It's like if old guys decide to do Mr. Telephone Man, like the new. It's basically that version, but older gentlemen trying to do that.
Since you mentioned Mr. Telephone Man, written by Ray Parker Jr., who had written it like 10 years before.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to the song, it kind of talks about the way telephones used to be before it came out, and then gave it to New Edition, written by Ray Parker Jr. And he gave it to New Edition. It became one of their biggest first hits, one of their first after Candy Girl. And he wrote that. And when you listen to the lyrics, you'll see how it talks about it can't get through. But back in 84, 85, it wasn't like that when it came out, but they sang it that way.
Yeah. And then when you hear it, it sounds like that group he was in, Radio. It sounds like a radio song.
Yes, and he wrote it.
Wait a minute. But hold on. Now I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, Mr. Telephone Man, something wrong with my mind. When I dial I get a click every time. So you call. So for me, you're hitting zero. You're calling the operator. Like that's in my brain. They call the operator. And then even if it was busy, can I break through?
Right, because remember in the 60s and 70s, you had to call. Well, you remember back in the day, you had to call the operator to get to connect you. Whereas back by the time the song
connect
came
me
out,
to KL57234.
When the song came out, you could call people direct. So it was different, but they still sang it the old way.
I never tripped off that.
Yeah, he's a bad.
That's why the phone dudes in the video, like, you know why these little dudes keep walking up to him.
Like again, so that's like I said, that's so interesting because I just took it as he's just calling, he's hitting zero and calling and being like, hey, is something wrong? Because it was the operator standing back. Yeah, oh no, mind.
Yes, all right. We did it.
611 to get a service.
Yeah, see, it's because he wrote it for back in the day. So yeah, he's a legend too. He's somebody that's underrated, that's not talked about enough. He is so much more than Ghostbusters. He's played with Barry White. He's produced for Barry White. He's sang and toured with Stevie Wonder. Like he is so much more than Ghostbusters. Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah, Ray Parker. Yeah, he's him.
Yes. He is him. He is one of one.
Wow, that's.
Hey, you got me thinking about the supergroups, and they kind of assembled one in the 90s, but they only made the one song, The Secret Garden. How do you think that would have worked if that was a whole album with them three?
So
or them four.
It was a lot of them because that was Quincy.
Was it Albie Shore, Barry White, James Ingram, and Elder Barge?
Yeah,
I think they could have made one album. Then Elder Barge would have gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
And Barry White don't play. He don't play. Like he's from the hood. He don't play. I think they could have gotten one good album out. But James Ingram,
produced by Quincy.
I don't know if you heard the thing that originally they tried to get Stevie Wonder to be. Was it James Ingram's part?
Yeah, I think it was James Ingram's part.
He offered Q offered it to Stevie originally,
and Stevie said no.
Yeah, he was like no.
He's gonna no. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we still got Stevie, so keep producing music, keep singing. Yeah. So put him in bubble wrap, as we used to say.
Matter of fact, my mom called me excited today. He was performing at the Obama. My mom called me, Scotty, you gotta see it. He jamming.
I love it. I love it.
And then then you have the other super group of the end of the 90s, from the Best Man soundtrack, RL,
Tyrese, Genuine,
which is the precursor.
You know, it's a common theme with these super groups that don't work well. There's some common members here. Yeah, and we love him. We love Tyrese, but he can be tough to get along with. No disrespect, we love you.
He even get into it with the cats in the movies. He got into it with The Rock.
I mean, Stacey said their tour should have been called the Dirty Mac Tour.
The Dirty Mac and Tour. That's it.
Yeah. We love Tyrese though, but maybe as a singular artist singing, because remember he was singing for Coca-Cola and
always Coca-Cola, right? He was on the episode of Martin where Pam was supposed to get that spinoff, and then he was singing on the bus.
Yeah.
And some people don't play well with others.
Yes, that's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
So what fictional group like movies. We other episode we recorded last week. We talked about what is the best movie, fictional movie, R&B movie, like where you got groups like the Five Heartbeats or Fighting Temptation. You said Five Heartbeats.
Nothing there. There's nothing else. Like that is.
Don't even name other ones.
That's it.
That's it. Purple Rain,
Jr.
Yeah, but the Five Heartbeats. That movie was so. It was ahead of its time because the issues they're dealing with then are still issues that people deal with now.
Yeah.
Five Heartbeats for sure.
And the fact that we thought that was a real group.
That's
the everybody
in the house tonight. Stand up, stand up. Let me.
And I remember asking Mom, you didn't tell me about the Five Heartbeats. How am I just finding out about them?
You playing all these songs, you ain't said nothing.
You never told me about Eddie Kane Jr.
You ain't never said nothing.
What he say? That y'all ain't nothing without Eddie Kane. Whatever he said that, y'all ain't nothing without Eddie Kane.
He's like, boy, that's not a real movie. I'm like, what?
It's real. Robert Townsend.
I still need to watch. I still need to watch that documentary about the making of that movie.
Me too.
Oh yeah,
I need to add that to my list too. But yeah. I would also watch. I recommend you watch the Luther documentary too.
Yeah,
and I have
I did.
The Earth, Wind, and Fire one's on my list.
That's on my list to watch. It's on my list on HBO to watch.
Sure.
I mean, we have a Facebook group. I own this 90s Facebook group as well. And that's when I found out that Reasons was about a side chick.
Oh, I mean,
no. He was the side situation. She was married. That's why he said in the song, though, she's calling on the phone.
Yeah.
Because she was calling her husband. That was the clip they put up.
He was Carl Thomas in the 70s.
Yes.
But you see, that just showed you just respect because just how subtle they were. Like you finding out decades later what the real reason. Nowadays, they just tell you straight out what's going on. Think about how subtle that is. Reasons is about him being a side piece.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That's like.
And he said people playing at their weddings, and he was like, it's not a
it's not a love song.
I always talk about for Earth, Wind, and Fire. My favorite song for them is actually Reasons, and I didn't quite know what it was about. But now that I know, I still will like it. It's still like it because you got Shirley Murdoch. In the morning. People
as we lay,
it's morning.
It's morning. But then she came out with Husband, and you knew what was up.
What's the one? Vesta, Congratulations.
Oh
yeah. Listen, that is my jam. And I have told several exes that when you get married, I'm coming through them church doors. And I'm singing, singing congratulations. Saw an old friend on the street. She said, today is your wedding.
The video too was good because that was like an early 90s video.
Yeah, watching it on the Quiet Storm.
Just like
Quiet Storm.
So she was direct but very respectful. Nowadays they be cursing and carrying on and saying all sorts of stuff.
Like, oh man, you know what? Yeah. Like, man, that's because she walked in that door in that video, and he turned around and looked like, oh no, and she was
Because this, hold on, what reminds me that song reminds me of another song where you might not first realize what it's about. Now, of course, Secret Lovers by Atlantic Star, another R&B group from the 80s. That one's classic. But there's another one where you don't quite realize what they're singing about, and then you figure it out. Ready for the World, we didn't talk about them. Love You Down. That's 80s though. That's 80s though. 80s.
Yeah, we're keep rolling. We'll let it slide.
Yeah.
Somebody in the comments will say something. It's fine.
Yeah.
They'll correct us. Because I'm looking at the video now for that Vesta. He got that the haircut it's homeboy from he used to be in a whole bunch of 80s stuff back then. He used to be in a whole bunch of stuff, man, like a whole bunch of action movies and like random roles. I can't remember this brother. I'm going to find out who this brother's name is now.
It's gonna bug me now. Is a whole thing. I saw an old friend on the street. She said, "Today is your wedding day."
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
It's like you're like my heart stopped. A tear dropped.
Yeah.
Like, man, saw my whole life flashed me back. I've been singing this song since I was like 8 years old. Like it's just been
not the day of the wedding.
Like she said, it's today.
Wedding's day. Yeah.
She bust inside that chapel door. She turned around. Congratulations. Yeah, good job. Again, I've told several men, like, yeah, try me. Watch what happens. I will show up. I ain't got, I will pop up anywhere. I ain't got nothing else to do.
Of course.
Wait a minute. One question that I did have, and I'm trying to pull it back up, but it was in regards to the title of the book. So because you use the words power, passion, and pain in the title.
Yes.
Right. So is there a 90s group that you think represents the power, the passion, and the pain?
I think,
or was it just to?
Yeah, I think when you think about power, you have to look at the Impressions or like Sly and the Family Stone. But once you get to the 90s, groups really weren't singing about current issues as much as they were when like Marvin Gaye. So power, not so much. Now, passion and pain, every group we talked about, yes. But I think that power was, and even now, like most people are so protective of their brand, they don't really speak out on certain issues. So
that's interesting.
Like the Isley Brothers crossover, because they had Fight the Power. They have all those songs they talk about back in the 70s. Once you get to the 80s or 90s, it's more about love and heartbreak.
And hip hop took over with the social issues.
Power, yes.
I never thought about that. I never thought about
Public Enemy.
Yeah, I never thought about R&B. I mean, like, yeah, we know, even with James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Like my mom always talks about, she won't call herself African American. She was like, James Brown told me to say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. So, but again, thinking about that, or thinking about Marvin Gaye, or again, even a Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come, and those songs, and I guess it's just a product of the times. But even with that, we ain't in that great of times right now.
No. But just remember, I think it started. Remember back in the day when they were giving Michael Jordan a hard time, and he's like, "Well, Republicans like to buy shoes too," and that signified he's trying to protect his brand because he doesn't want to. You don't want to pick a side. He wants money from everyone, and I think that was probably the first indicator of, oh, well, maybe I don't need to speak out because I need to get as much money as possible. And I think that's kind of where it could be birthed from, in my opinion. I don't have any facts, but I'm thinking, because he said that early on in the Air Jordan days, and he's kept up with that kind of theme. He doesn't really speak out on political issues.
I don't speak out on nothing. But yeah, that is interesting. That is something I've never thought about. Like
that a transition like that.
That transition, like again, like just again from one genre doing it to the next, and then and then now again we have some artists who speak up and we have other ones who keep quiet, and it's because now there's just more scrutiny, right? So Michael Jordan said that, and the only way that you knew that happened was probably through the newspaper, or something like that. Versus now, as soon as you say something, it's everywhere for everyone to see.
Cancel culture is imminent, and so you get canceled, and so most people just choose to keep quiet. Except if you so very few people will have the courage or they just don't care to speak out about issues. And I used her name earlier, but you will see like Taylor Swift will speak out on certain issues. But think about anyone else. Beyonce, not so much, So, and that's their decision. But you see very few people that will. Who else spoke out? Was it Charlie XCX spoke out too? She spoke out too.
Yeah, Taylor Swift did a whole post about voting for Kamala, and I think she turned the comments off because she was like, "I said what I said."
Yeah. So very few people will. So it is what it is. It's the sign of the times.
It's you have your platform and you decide how you want to use it, and either using it to, again, whether you're promoting your brand, your music, a specific issue, whatever it is. But then there's the reality of, once an issue affects them, then they'll post.
Yeah. So, So
where can people get your book at, Armani?
Okay.
Where can they check this out? Where can they, I mean, we've had a great R&B discussion, but where can people get the book?
So they can get the book, Amazon, of course. You can go to thequietstormbook.com, buy it off my website, or amaniexperience.com. And that's where they can do it. And if there's anyone who's listening, we talk about a lot of issues in the music industry and things like that. That's what I do. I'm a fractional artist manager. So I work with artists, help them maximize their money, make the best business decisions possible. So if you're listening and you want a free call, amaniexperience.com/call, and I'd love to talk to you.
All right.
Scott, quick thing for Armani here. I told him about the bracket and everything. You were you on here when I told him about the bracket?
Yeah. I was on
okay. I didn't know and everything. So it got real down and dirty for the bracket. I don't know what we're gonna do next. The top
and you're in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll be out there next month for the AKA conference with my wife. So I'm trying to find some things to do.
This AKA conference is tickling.
Okay, hit me up. They're gonna turn the fountains at the Bellagio pink and green. So hit me up. I'm around.
Yeah. All right. Sound like an old man. I'm gonna be out there for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out there next month.
Be out there with my wife. Me and my wife go come on out there. I'm gonna bring the kids. We're gonna be out there.
I'm gonna be out there for that AKA.
Yeah, she gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be over here.
Yeah, I hear you.
Any socials people can hit you up at Armani? Any
socials? So Instagram is Amani Experience. Let me think here. TikTok, Amani Experience, and then my government name is LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn's a hidden gem. So Amani Roberts on LinkedIn and YouTube. Amani Roberts on YouTube. Those are kind of the two I'm focusing on. So that's where you can find me. Keep in touch. This has been fun. So I thank you all.
Been fun. This has absolutely been fun. Yeah,
this is what we do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. We will okay. Make sure y'all hit us up on the voicemail. Let us know what you think about the discussion with Armani. It's in the show notes, y'all. I don't remember the number. I'm tired of trying to find it.
It's a 314 number.
Yes, it's hold on. I found it. 314-649-3113. All right, there we go. And we appreciate if y'all listen as always, and we'll be back soon. Thanks.